Mr. Gomez.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon. This is item number 7, AB 757.
Correct. Members, I'm presenting AB 757, which will ensure efficiency and better service delivery at a number of life-saving plasma donation facilities in California. This bill will authorize a fully trained and fully supervised employee whose general training meets federal standards, followed by specific training to operate a one-button automated total protein refractometer test in licensed plasma collection centers. As a way of refractometer. Hey, try saying rhinoceros when you're at the end of a probe's suspense file. As a way of background, plasma is used to make therapies that treat rare, chronic, and life-threatening diseases. The total protein refractometer test is a standard non-diagnostic procedure conducted during the initial donor intake process and is one of several screenings used to determine donor eligibility. In the vast majority of states, this simple, almost entirely automated test can be administered by an employee trained to federal standards. AB 757 would bring California in line with the rest of the nation and allow trained employees who meet specified criteria to perform this initial screening while allowing highly qualified physicians, lab directors, and other healthcare professionals on site to serve more donors while continuing to protect patient safety by supervising the operation of interpreting the test results. Here to speak on behalf of the bill, I have a couple of witnesses.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members. John Valencia representing Grifols. With me this afternoon for any questions if the committee has it is Dr. Conrad Grosby, who is Chief of Medicine for Grifols Southwest Region. In California, there are 13 plasma collection centers. Our Biomat subsidiary owns 6 of them. The state-of-the-art, as we've demonstrated in each of the members' offices, plasma donor screening test. It utilizes the total protein refractometer. We're a customer, not the manufacturer. In 43 states, pushing this button doesn't require anything except minimum federal CLIA standard compliance. California law is designed, and our problem in California law is that it's designed for full clinical laboratory settings. We are not that. In fact, we are fully dependent on clinical laboratories for tissue examination and plasma sample examination in order to ever use a donated unit of plasma, which is 97% water, 3% enzyme, and goes into the development of the medications that Mr. Gomez mentioned. We respectfully ask for your support of this measure. It is tightly drawn, only to plasma centers, only to an automated unit, and will not disrupt the broader law relating to clinical laboratory settings. We respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Valencia. Other witnesses in support? Other witnesses in opposition? Make yourself comfortable, please.
And I don't ever like to be here opposing a Mr. Gomez bill. Catherine Reese, representing the California Association for Medical Laboratory Technology. I also have 2 colleagues who are unable to be here today who authorized me to speak on their behalf. One would be Bob Ackerman for the California Society of Pathologists, and then, of course, Shane Guzman is with the Engineers and Scientists of California. We certainly applaud the efforts being made here. I think that our critical points have been made in your analysis. Your policy decision is really, do you want to circumvent California law for one exception, or why are we not waiting until the device is not made a waive category test? What you're asking here is that individuals with a high school diploma be able to do moderate complexity tests. Also raised in your analysis was a little bit of reflection on the history as to how we got to California law as it is today. Senator Ken Maddy, back in 1995, was the author of a bill that put California laboratory law in place as it is today. I either had the nightmare of or the privilege of, depending on your perspective, of being able to work on that measures, because it took 4 years. And it was designed to harmonize California with CLIA law, CLIA arose out of the pap smear scares of the late 80s, and it was decided that there needed to be a floor, not a ceiling, with the federal law. So the federal law was put in place with a very important provision that in any state where the state law exceeded federal law, state law would prevail. So I can reflect. I am not familiar. I will say I'm a layperson. I am not familiar with the device, but I certainly can reflect on much testimony that was given, particularly by handheld devices or quote simple devices that you only pushed a button on. At point of care testing. In fact, one of the manufacturers actually argued that the device was tested with monkeys, and they could push the device and it could be operated. But operation isn't the substance of what we're talking about here. A device being simple to work isn't the criteria for why the federal government or the FDA rates a test as being waived moderate complexity or high complexity. If it is a moderate complexity test, a determination has been made that if something goes wrong or an interpretation is wrong, therefore, the consequence of error is such that it should not be categorized as a waived test. So if it's anticipated that this will ultimately be a waived test, the position of our principles is that let's let the FDA do its work. Let's not carve out a unique exception for California as an exemption from its particular law. My principles tell me that plasma is a very important thing. It certainly has been testified, we would concur, and that often plasma donors are paid for their donation. So if you have a poor outcome or you have someone who's just a nuance off proper training and you bleed that particular patient down, there are consequences, serious health consequences that are reflected in your analysis from our letters. So for those reasons, we would unfortunately have to remain opposed to this measure. We would hope that one of these days it does in fact become a waived test. We have seen instances where other professionals have sought exemptions only to be disappointed that not only was it not categorized as a waived test by the FDA, but heightened to even more moderately complex than what was originally envisioned. So for those reasons, we must be on the record regretfully opposing the measure.
Very good. Thank you very much. Are there other witnesses in opposition? Seeing no one else, bringing it back to the committee. Any comments or questions? Seeing no one, is there a motion? Motion by Senator Galgiani. That would be moved to pass to Senate on Appropriations. Would you like to close, Assemblymember Gold?
Thank you so much. I'm just asking the senators for an aye vote on the bill. You know, back when in 1995, that when Mr. Maddie passed the original bill, he understood that technology advances, and you have to have ability to take that into account. Back in 1995, they were still using beepers and didn't have and mobile phones in their cars, right? It wasn't a true phone like we have today. So the technology will continue advancing, and we have to have the flexibility to be able to deal with that. So I want to make sure that in the end we can have an efficient system, but at the same time make sure that it's safe for the patients, and that's what I think this bill balances with the sunset to make sure that it doesn't stay continual for the long term. So I ask for your aye vote.
Very good, thank you. And I just have to say, if we were to, it has been moved, but if we were to wait for the federal government to act on, you know, thankfully California doesn't wait.
And California is a unique place, as Anthony Scalia did mention in his most recent ruling.
It is a unique place. Did you have something? Mr. Wachowski, did you have a sense, Senator?
No, I was gonna say, I thought that beepers were real when I had them.
The motion is due pass to the Senate Appropriations Committee. Please call the roll.
Hill.
Aye.
Hill, aye. Bates. Aye. Bates, aye. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Block, aye. Galgiani. Galgiani, aye. Hernandez. Hernandez, aye. Jackson. Jackson, aye. Mendoza. Wachowski. Wachowski, aye.
That bill has 7 votes. We'll hold the roll open for the absent members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members.
Thank you, Mr. Belanger. Assemblymember Ridley Thomas, good afternoon. You're getting to be a regular at this committee, in this committee.
Well, Mr. Chairman, you have dynamic subject matter and you're fighting for Californians, jobs, consumer
And we'll start
protection. What's better?
with item number 8, AB 880.
Well, all righty, Mr. Chair, we'll do that. We're presenting AB 880, and then I'll accept comment 6's suggestion that we change the term administering the sponsoring. We recognize those concerns, and thank you and the staff for your diligence. This bill would permit students enrolled in their final year of dental school to provide dental care under the supervision of licensed dentists at free dental clinics. Regular dental care is extremely important to everyone's overall health, and many underserved communities have a lack of access for routine dental care. And we know that there are a combination of factors, economic, some policy, and Medi-Cal rates, and that's why we're going to have a special session, and we appreciate your leadership on making sure that we have consumer access. We think that this bill makes good policy sense and hope that the committee will agree and help us move it forward.
Very good, thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Mr. Chairman and members, Gary Cooper representing the Oral and Facial Surgeons of California. We are the sponsors of this legislation. As Mr. Ridley Thomas stated, it's pretty well known that dental care for the underserved in California is pretty insufficient. We know that because we take a look at all the people that come to the free dental fairs. We know that because in all 6 dental colleges in California, there are clinics that already see these underserved patients and are supervised by faculty members. This particular bill will open it up to allow the volunteers to be students, 4th year, final year students, to be able to do the same thing they do currently in the 6 universities. We've taken several sets of amendments, one based on some of the concerns of your staff. Some of the amendments we've taken are based on the concerns of the California Dental Board. Some of them are based on the concerns of CDA, California Dental Association, and we're certainly willing to look at some others that may be out there. But for the most part, this bill is a good bill to allow volunteer students to be able to come out and work on underserved communities. I know you and I have spoken about this, and we think it's a good piece of legislation. With me, I have Dr. Steve Fredrickson, who is the Dean of the Western College of Dentistry in Southern California, who does this all the time. He works with the faculty, he works with the students, so I'd like him to maybe discuss a little bit about how the actual clinics work in the Western University. Thank you.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Cooper. Good afternoon, welcome.
All of the dental schools follow the Commission on Dental Accreditation standards as far as supervision is concerned, and our concern is obviously for patient safety, but also to make sure that the students are well educated when they're observed by the faculty, and they're all licensed faculty under the Dental Board of California.
Very good, thank you.
Answer any technical questions
That's
you
good.
have.
There may be some. Thank you. Others in support? Thank you.
Pam Congdon, I'm the president and volunteer of California Care Force. We provide the free health clinics that we've had throughout California, and I support this. Our association supports it.
Very good, thank you. Others in support? Good afternoon.
Hi, Fran Burton, President, California Dental Board. Mr. Member, we really appreciate your taking all of our suggested amendments to the bill that we suggested to the sponsor, and with that, our opposition is removed.
Very good, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, Senator Wajkowski, a question.
I've been to one of these big tent events where you have, it's amazing how many people show up there, and I'm trying to understand, where do the students fit in? Because it seems like the dentists are shoulder to shoulder with the, I guess, the people in the clinic, patients.
The students can fit in various different roles. Right now, they do a lot of things as far as support is concerned, and they'll continue to do that. But for procedures that they've already been trained in and they're approved to do in the dental schools, they could also do those under the oversight of the licensed dentists who are there, provided their faculty on our various different colleges. So it's an expansion of the number of people who could be providing care.
Reduce the lines and the like.
Also in areas like Coachella where it's not right in the immediate area. It's hard to get practitioners to come out there, but the schools love to come out, and we have the ratio of the the faculty to the students, and so it helps fill in where we don't always have enough practitioners.
Senator Jackson.
Yeah, I'd like to say I like this bill. I don't generally like to see students working on patients, sort of as a way to hone their skills necessarily, particularly having sat in a dentist chair many times. You want the job to be done right and well. But what I think really persuades me is that, contrary to some of my colleagues who hate to think that anyone could sue anybody for anything, you continue to have the responsibility to make sure that the students are doing a good job. And I like that idea, is that you are overseeing their work, that you continue to be ultimately responsible for the quality of the work that comes out. And I think that I know a number of dental students are very conscientious. They really are committed to the work. And the fact that they've got good oversight and accountability there, I think, makes this a very good bill, which I will now move.
Very good. Thank you, Senator Hernandez.
My understanding is that all students of dentistry can see patients, live patients, work in patients within the confines of the School of Dentistry. But when you move outside of that, that's when they're unable to do that. So this bill will allow them to do that. So my question goes to liability, and I understand that within a dental school that the liability is covered by the school and/or the overseeing dentist. Would the liability then be passed on and moved over as well to the dentist that's overseeing that patient with regard to malpractice?
Thank you, Senator. Actually, the liability will remain with the dental schools. As long as it's an approved event, the students are covered for that. So they have a permission process, and the faculty who are overseeing them are the same faculty. So it's the same liability process.
Thank you, Senator. Other questions? Seeing no one. We did have witnesses in kind of opposition and support, and anyone else in opposition, or anyone in opposition? Seeing no one there, then we will. We have a motion from Senator Jackson, and would you like to close?
Respectfully request an aye vote. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much. This is a due pass recommendation as amended to Senate Appropriations Committee. Thank you, Senator Jackson, for the motion. Please call the roll.
Hill.
Aye.
Hill, aye. Bates. Aye. Bates, aye. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Block, aye. Galgiani. Aye. Galgiani, aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hernandez, aye. Jackson. Aye. Jackson, aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wachowski, aye.
8. And close it. Okay, that vote, that bill has 8 votes, and we will close the roll, and Mr. Berryhill will not be coming back. So
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Congratulations. We'll close the roll on 880. Now, AB 940, item number 9.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to present AB 940 and thank the committee for working with my staff on strengthening this bill with clarifying amendments as stated in the analysis. This would establish a career ladder in the clinical laboratory field. It allows a bioanalyst, an individual who's earned a master's degree, to serve as an additional laboratory director in a laboratory performing high-complexity testing, and will allow an applicant for a bioanalyst license to obtain the required 4 years of experience in an out-of-state clinical laboratory approved facility. Without this bill, the shortage of licensed clinical laboratory personnel will continue, and we would respectfully request your support, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee.
Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Michael Arnold, representing the California Clinical Laboratory Association. And thank you to your staff for doing such a thorough analysis. A lot of additional background work was done on the federal law that is included in your analysis. It's an excellent analysis. The last page of the analysis notes that there is no opposition to the bill. It is strongly supported by the various elements of the laboratory community, including the California Laboratory Association, the American Clinical Laboratory Association, and others. As the author has indicated, the bill attempts to reestablish a good career ladder in the clinical laboratory field because we are experiencing grave problems in terms of recruitment of sufficient numbers of laboratory professionals. I'm here to answer any questions you might have about the measure.
Very good. Thank you. Are there other witnesses in support? Seeing none, we'll take our chance and ask for witnesses in opposition, since there's none listed. Seeing no one here, bring it back to the committee for any discussion or conversation. We have a motion from Senator Block. Would you like to close?
Respectfully request an aye vote. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. This is a do pass as amended, and you did take the technical amendments.
Yes, we did, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Do pass as amended to Senate Appropriations. Please call the roll.
Hill.
Aye.
Hill, I. Bates. Aye. Bates, I. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Block, I. Galgiani. Galgiani, I. Hernandez. Aye. Hernandez, I. Jackson. Aye. Jackson, I. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, I. Wachowski. Aye. Wachowski, I.
Thank you. The bill has 8 votes, and it is out. Congratulations. Thank you very much. We'll move back to, since item number 1 is that missing, Mr. Berry. We'll go through the roll. We'll start at the top. At item number 1, AB 159. Please call the absent members.
Berryhill.
That bill has 8 votes. It is out. And item number 2, AB 178. Please, we do have a motion. So please call the absent members.
Motion is due pass to appropriations. Current vote 5-0. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Block, I. Jackson. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, I. Yep, 7.
That bill has 7 votes. It is out. And moving to item number 3, AB 483. We did not have a motion. Do we have a motion, please?
Move it.
Thank you, Senator Bates. Please call the members.
Motion is due pass to appropriations. Hill.
Aye.
Hill, I. Bates. Aye. Bates, I. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Block, I. Galgiani. Galgiani, I. Hernandez. Aye. Hernandez, I. Jackson. Aye. Jackson, I. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, I. Wachowski. Aye. Wachowski, I.
8-0, and that bill is out. Item number 4, AB 525. The vote is 4-1. Please call the absent members.
Motion is due pass as amended to Judish. Current vote 4-1. Hill.
Aye.
Hill, I. Berryhill. Galgiani. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, I.
This is Holden. Item number 4, AB 525.
6-1.
Did everyone vote what was 6-1? Okay, that measure has 6 votes, and it is out. Item number 5, AB 573 by Medina. Please call the absent members.
Motion is due pass as amended to Education Committee. Current votes 4-0. Bates. Berryhill. Hernandez. Aye. Hernandez, I. Jackson. Aye. Jackson, I. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, I. 7-0.
That bill has 7 votes. It is out. Item number 6, AB 624, Assemblymember Wilk. Please call the absent members.
Motion is due pass to appropriations. Current vote 4-1. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Block, I. Jackson. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, I. 6-1.
That bill has 6 votes. It is out. Item number 7, AB 757 by Assemblymember Gomez. Vote is 7-0.
Motion is due pass to appropriations. Current vote 7-0. Berryhill. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, I.
8-0. The bill is out. And that's it. Very good. Thank you very much, everyone. The hearing is adjourned.